And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan coming to you from the National Weather Service in Alaska region on this Sunday, May 25th, 2025. And here are some of the weather-related headlines across the state of Alaska for this Memorial Day weekend. We are going to be watching a couple of low-pressure impulses, fronts with moderate to heavy rain and gusty winds up to gale force pushing through, especially the Panhandle later Monday into Tuesday and Wednesday. And then the interior will continue to see the threat of some scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially in the afternoon, early evening hours as we go through the Memorial Day holiday. And river breakup has occurred on the Porcupine River. Old Crow reported breakup a couple of days ago. We'll talk more about that. And then overall, though, unsettled, generally cool and occasionally wet weather will affect much of the state as we head into early June. No real change in this ongoing weather pattern. Well, as we take the FAA webcams and look at the situation up there in the upper Kuskokwim, McGrath, some scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms in that area. 64 degrees this afternoon. You can see that the rain shafts there near the airport. Down in the southern Panhandle at Klawock, some showers in the vicinity of the airport, 59 degrees, and you're going to see the rain picking up there at Klawock, especially as we get into Monday evening and Monday night as another area of low pressure frontal system lifts northward. But as far as any watches, warnings, or advisories, we have nothing out at the present moment here as of mid-afternoon on Sunday, but we do have a couple of special weather statements. This special weather statement here for areas of the central eastern interior are for the possibility of some isolated to scattered thunderstorms that could produce some brief heavy downpours, small hail, some gusty outflow winds, especially along the perimeter of those storms, and then the potential for a few lightning strikes that could start fires. The fire danger is going to be a bit higher here across areas of the interior going through the holiday. And then down here in the south, this includes Prince of Wales Island, Port Alexander area, could see some higher water levels starting Monday night and throughout the week as we have low pressure coming northward, and the energy is going to first head north and then pivot westward. And with a couple of frontal waves and some stronger winds, that could lead to some higher water levels. Now, as far as where the river breakup is now, we're waiting for these northern rivers to break up. And we've seen at least the Porcupine has opened up. The ice went out there at Old Crow a couple days ago. And so we have some light to moderate ice flows working their way down the Porcupine. And we'll also see increasing some rising water levels this week above Fort Yukon. At this point, major flooding is not anticipated. And then we have other rivers breaking up along the western Brooks Range and the far north slope areas. There's still the ice in place, and that hasn't occurred yet, but that will eventually become something to keep an eye on as we head into another week or beyond. So for fire danger here on Monday, Memorial Day, the highest fire threat will be Yukon Flats, long and just north of the Yukon River, extending all the way out toward outside there of Norton Sound. And we're also going to have the threat of some scattered thunderstorms that could initiate an isolated fire start due to lightning. So be very careful if you're doing any outdoor recreating with a holiday weekend using any fire or any tools that could start a spark. Looking at the satellite imagery, we still have this general low sitting here off of the Panhandle, keeping showers going. We have energy that's coming across from the Bering into the North Pacific, and then we have the hints here of that next area of low pressure and moisture coming up from the North Pacific. That is what's heading toward the Panhandle for especially the latter half of Memorial Day, especially Monday night, Tuesday. There'll be another impulse wrap around that'll enhance the rainfall, the potential for moderate to heavy rainfall in the Panhandle a couple different times, Monday night into Tuesday, and then again later Tuesday into Wednesday. If you look at the interior, look at the popcorn type cloud cover, the results of the convection, that is scattered showers and thunderstorms, pretty numerous throughout the interior. and back into northwest Canada. Farther north, there's a weak cold front that's going to brush the North Slope Arctic coast as it works its way eastward. It may have some lower stratus clouds, a little bit of fog, maybe even a little bit of light snow, but at this point, it's just going to reinforce some cooler air along the North Slope and Arctic coast here for the early portion of the week. Late tonight into Monday morning, this is where low pressure, kind of the anchor point of the circulation, as we've had a couple of lows come in off the Bering, being absorbed into this overall circulation. But then we're going to have another area of low pressure come up further south here from the North Pacific, and that's what will be heading on up toward the Panhandle for Monday evening and Monday night. Meanwhile, scattering of showers and thunderstorms, northwest Canada back into the interior. The only reason this is solid is because the way the model data comes in, but scattered storms along and especially north of the Alaska Range as well as westward. And getting into the day then on Tuesday, we find that occluded front and energy of that low pulling back to the west. This is going to keep breezy conditions along the Panhandle. There could be some gale force winds. And in addition with this front, there could be some low level wind shear for aviation entrance as we get into Monday night and Tuesday. Again, with a feed of pretty good moisture causing some locally heavier rainfall in the southern end of the Panhandle, Prince of Wales Island on up over toward Metlakatla and Ketchikan could get a pretty good soaking. And as we look in the far north, there's that little front working its way east. It's going to kind of wash out by the time we get into Wednesday, because all in all, we're going to find low pressure wanting to pull back up even into northwest Canada and out of the Gulf. So this pattern is just lending toward a continuation of what we've seen. Below normal temperatures for this time of year, not by a lot, but with the cloud cover and occasional rain, that keeps readings cooler in the Panhandle along the Gulf Coast. And then the interior, any sunshine you get, it's going to lead to scattered showers and storms. So here are the temperatures tonight. You can see lows below freezing, especially North Slope, spine of the Brooks Range, northern Seward Peninsula, even over at St. Lawrence Island there at Gamble and Savunga. Otherwise, readings generally will stay above 40 in many spots, up through the middle upper Yukon, Tanana Valleys, Anchorage Bowl, lower Mat-Su Valley, and much of the Panhandle. High temperatures on Monday afternoon. You can see the warmest readings, 60s. There could be an isolated 70-degree reading here in the middle Yukon. But with that heating will lead to more scattered showers and thunderstorms flaring up in the afternoon and evening hours. Meanwhile, the steadier rains are going to be returning to the Panhandle by Monday evening, Monday night, continuing into Tuesday morning. And with some cloud cover, that'll tend to keep temperatures a little cooler in areas of south central. Best chance of some intervals of sun will be along in north and west of the Alaska Range. And then for Tuesday morning, again, low temperatures, coldest North Slope along the Arctic coast, Beaufort Sea coastline into the Chukchi Sea coast, lows into the 20s. Again, still generally around or a bit above 40 up through the Yukon, Kuskokwim, Tanana basins. Panhandle, low mid-40s and perhaps 37 or so there, Gulkana for Tuesday morning. And then again, temperatures Tuesday afternoon. Warmest readings are going to be the middle upper Yukon, and as we get up the Kuskokwim Valley and into areas of the Tanana Valley, 60-degree plus readings fairly common. And again, could be scattered showers and thunderstorms redevelop. And for Tuesday, we'll be watching another impulse front coming up from the North Pacific that'll bring additional breezy conditions and moderate to locally heavy rainfall, especially along the outer coast of the Panhandle going into Wednesday. And again, flirting with the clouds. If you can get interval of sun, maybe some 60-degree readings around Anchorage and the Copper River Basin, which will just tend to add toward the instability. But as I've been saying, this pattern has been tough to break. I've been talking about pretty much the same kind of temperature precipitation outlook since a month ago. This is even a little more pronounced. So as we go from May 31st through June 4th into the early days of June, there is a high probability of temperatures averaging below normal from the middle Yukon across the Alaska Range, south central areas around Anchorage, as well as in through the northern half of the Panhandle. and no signs of any big warm ridges yet setting up. At some point that could happen, but not at least going into early June. And then for precipitation, we are looking for precipitation to average a bit above normal across much of the state. The most likely areas would be south central around Prince William Sound, Cook Inlet, and much of the western half of the mainland. And it could even include some areas of the Panhandle. But like I said, not a whole lot of change in this pattern as we head into June.